Hello and welcome to the show. If you're enjoying it and want an ad-free experience, consider signing up for the Patreon, patreon.com/the101podcast. Get early access and exclusive content on there as well for less than the cost of a cup of coffee. Links to ways of supporting the show are in the description. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy this episode. So you think you guys opened up a portal or something there while you were there?
Yeah, because so then the next night, and another thing I didn't know is that a portal can follow you. You can open a portal and travel with it. We go to Western New York next night. Go from West Virginia to Western New York. And over the direct link that we're using, it says, close the portal. It was like 3 different voices, but it was a sentence. That's at the Wildwood Sanitarium, but that's in the Skunk Ape Experiments, because I was explaining what happened when the hymn to Pan, the first time I did a hymn to Pan. And this is why I chose to do it here, just so we could get some activity, something happened. And it worked there too. I won't tell you how it worked because you got to watch the second one, but that was nuts.
Welcome back to another episode of the 101 Podcast. I'm your host as always. Make sure to follow me on social media at the 101 Podcast, the101podcast.com, patreon.com/the101podcast, all the stuff. Rockfin, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. You know where to find me. Leave a review, please. And today I have the pleasure of, I think this is my first, I want to say official Bigfoot episode. Okay, I haven't really been doing a lot of cryptids, so you're going to get to pop my cherry, Stacy. You're going to get to pop the Bigfoot cherry, and I wouldn't have it in any other way because I actually watched your documentary, the original one, quite a while ago. And the way that I came across that, I'll tell you in a little bit. But, Stacy, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Doing good, bud. Glad we could finally get this thing going. I apologize. I've had the worst luck trying to connect and do this damn show.
It's all good, dude.
But yeah, man, happy to be here. Your setup looks great, dude. I'm really impressed by that. Is that like a webcam, or you got another cam up? I can't imagine that being a webcam.
This is a streaming camera, yeah. It's
oh wow, it looks really good, dude.
It's a Sony CV10, I think it is. So yeah, it's pretty crispy.
All right.
So, dude, what's up? Where can people find your work, man? I really enjoy your documentaries, and I know you got another one dropping. So this is the one that's dropping this week, Friday, is completely different.
Completely different.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
where can people find you, bro?
So, Bigfoot Stacy on YouTube. You can see a lot of my stuff there. Film crew I'm making. The crew I got now. Outcast Paranormal. Outcastparanormal.com. You can check our stuff out on Amazon. The film, the Sitonga film that's dropping this week. That's going to be on Paraflix for a little while before it hits Amazon and other places. Skunk Ape Experiments just dropped back in August, and we're dropping part 2 next month. And then the Skunk Ape Lives, my Skunk Ape documentary, the one you first saw, that one's on YouTube, so check it out. It's got 1 million plays, doing good. People enjoyed it, so just keeping on pushing, man.
What's the one about that's coming out this week? What's that one about?
Okay, so that one is the Sitonga, Bigfoot's Spirits and Faith. So we went to the Omaha Reservation in Macy, Nebraska. We got invited to go. They had these things called Tonga, which are Bigfoot in their culture. And we got there, and like all this other stuff was happening. They had all these other legends, and like it's like a paranormal playhouse. There's all kinds of shit. You got ghosts, UFO sightings, Bigfoot. It was nuts. So we put that first stuff we filmed, called it Secrets of the Tonga, and put it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. But then we decided to go back, and this film really explains, because the title's kind of, while it sounds weird, it's kind of it's pretty straightforward. So Bigfoot spirits, so we get Bigfoot activity, we get ghost activity, and the faith part is about them. They have a certain spiritualism, right,
surrounding this being.
Yeah, they accredit everything happening there to their spiritual ways. They're Mormons.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but believe that or not. But I have to tell you, I didn't make this trip. I was supposed to go and got COVID, so I did not go. And I don't know if I got COVID. I got sick. All right. And I was like, I ain't getting tested. And I'm really sick right now. I figured I had it. But I didn't go. The other guys went. The stuff that happened is pretty. There's some moments in there, man. I have to say, there's some moments in there, and these things they say, because the native belief is so different than that of the rest of the Western world. You know what I mean? Because the natives are spiritual about everything. Mm-hmm. Like an eagle means something, and it's cool to get there and be in that environment. You know what I mean? Just for a little bit of time. That's what I love about doing this, is that I get to step into so many different people's worlds.
And what got you started into this, Stacy? Can you give us a little bit of your background? Tell us what got you on this path of investigating Bigfoot.
So I guess it would have to be all accredited to my father. He was big on like the unsolved mystery shows and In Search of and all that stuff when I was a kid. And so those shows really got my fire going for it, I was the Bigfoot kid at school. I got teased for it and stuff like that. I was hunting Bigfoot literally when I was like 6 or 7. Thought it lived across the street, and then I got away from it, and Finding Bigfoot came out. They had a lady on there that had a greasy handprint on the inside of her door. They put her name on TV, and so I flipped open the phone book, because that's how it was back then. And she only lived 40 minutes from my house. I cold called her. She's like, come on out. And had my first encounter that weekend. And ever since then, I've just been balls to the wall.
Is that in Florida?
Yeah, it was over on the Apalachicola River.
Really?
Up here in northern Florida, yeah. About 6 months later, me and my dad got the footage, the thermal footage, there in Torreya State Park. But I've recorded, sounds and found tracks and all that stuff. But the footage led to I had my first encounter, and I made a YouTube video about it. That had 6 views, right? After the first week. Killing it. One of those views, I did kill it. One of those views was a producer from the Howard Stern show. I don't know if you know who Howard Stern is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This dude calls me up. He's like, yo, I want to put you on a Bigfoot show. You're gonna lead Dr. Meldrum's field team.
Whoa.
What? I was like, what? It's like, quit fucking with me. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Quit messing with me. And I hung up. Dude called me back, because you got to figure. I'm a backwoods nobody in Crawfordville, Florida. I've been trying to make it as a musician. Dude calls immediately back. I pick the phone up. I'm like, yo, quit bothering me. He's like, well, I'm not messing with you, man. I was like, what the hell you want me for? I was like, I sound like a moron. Because, like, I have a real strong Southern accent. And to me, it makes me sound retarded.
Like a hillbilly. Like a hillbilly.
Yes,
yeah.
right. Right. I sound stupid to me. And so I'm like, what do you want me on here for, dude? And he's like, oh, you're a rock and roller, man. You're different than everybody else, but you're backwoods at the same time. He's blowing smoke up my ass. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Fuck off. Hung up on him again. Dude calls me back third time. I pick the phone up, and he's like, don't effing hang the phone up on me again. And I'm like, what the hell, bro? Like, who is this? You know what I mean? And he's like, if I buy the tickets, will you get on the plane? I said, you buy the tickets, and I'll get up on the plane. He said, all right. And then he hung up. Like 10 minutes later, I got the email with the ticket confirmation.
Wow.
And I went to Idaho and filmed this like sizzle reel with Dr. Meldrum. We were in his office for about a week. I got to see all of his shit, everything. Have these long conversations with him about everything. Then we got to go up in the field, or out in the field, up into the mountains there in Pocatello.
Where is this?
In Idaho.
In Idaho?
Yeah. So you also got to figure this is like my first time traveling anywhere. This is my first time seeing snow. I like to slid off the damn side of the mountain. Like, it was iced over, and I just like going to walk across it, and I slipped, and I promise you, had there not been this little tree that I grabbed in the ditch, I would have went, bro. Because once I landed on my butt on that ice, I shot across the road.
So a Florida boy in the mountains, in the snow for the first time.
No idea what the hell I was doing.
Nice.
But it was fun, so that show didn't sell. But the footage came out, and when the footage came out, I got hit up by Animal Planet and Spike on the same day. So we did the Animal Planet show, the Spike show. I did. My dad backed out of it because it was a game show, and he thought it was stupid. But I won the show. I won a $100,000 research grant.
Really?
Yeah. Did some discovery shows, some travel shows. Ended up winning like Bigfooter of the Year in 2016. And then in 2017, I got called from this. I started making my own films, right? I kind of was getting burnt out with the TV thing because it always wants you to fake shit. Always want you to play pretend on TV. Like, that was the thing about the Bigfoot Bounty show. They're like, there was this elk, and it come tearing through, and they're like, hey, turn real quick and say, what was that? And I'm like, what do you mean, bro? It was an elk. It got too close. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I need to get you to do this. I was like, no, hell, you don't need to get me to do that. But that's the constant push. So, like, when I first got on TV, I didn't dip. I never dipped before in my life. TV producer comes up to me, goes, hey, man, first can's on me. I was like, I don't dip. He goes, you do now.
For that stereotype of...
Yeah, for that stereotype.
Woodman type of thing,
I played into it at first. I gave them their little sound bites because they were wanting stuff. The reason they picked me, I must have been shining like a damn, a new Christmas ornament or something, because they put me in front of the camera, and they are like feeding me misinformation to start fights with other guys because they know that I'm this abrasive type of person that, hey, you just said something to me?
Yeah.
I'm calling you out, bud. You know what I mean? So
that's Hollywood. I mean, that's typical.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it. And I got played there for a little bit.
Wow.
I mean, hell, the first thing they're sitting there, they're like, they asked me some question. I answered, I said, Neil Armstrong's the first person to ever walk on the moon. I said, Stacy Brown's going to be the first motherfucker to ever find Bigfoot, cuz. That clip was on like Talk Soup. It was on all these different like shows, Conan, all this stuff where they're just trashing me. It's a way for them to promote this crazy ass reality show.
Yeah.
And they've got this damn gold right here that they're showing to everybody.
Got a redneck Florida man. They're literally in BFE in Florida. And I mean, up towards the Panhandle, you know, central there. It's really the middle of nowhere sometimes. And that's crazy. But also, it's kind of inspiring because if you would have never posted that video, and this is why never would have got it. And that should be inspiring for people to, no matter what, pursue your dreams. You know, you wanted to make it in another different way, like musically, but then you still made it in a different way, because life has, we do live in a haunted house, how Tripley says, like this weird reality that we're in. And then here you are doing documentaries, doing TV, doing shows with the Survivor Man, right? You've been doing shows with Survivor Man. So that's crazy, dude. And so what's up? What is it about Florida? Because the way that I found your first documentary was to a friend of mine, Jeff, who I go hunting with every so often. I haven't gone in a while, and we go boar hunting, right, with bows. And I remember we were sitting in a tree stand in the middle of the night, and it was pitch dark, and we had a crossbow with some night vision on it, and we're just sitting and we're talking, right? The only light that there is the moonlight, and we're in some swamp here over by Grant Valkyrie, Florida, right? And it's over by Sebastian. And we're just sitting there. We start talking about aliens and just weird stuff. You know, just two bros hanging out in a tree stand up, 15 feet in the air, waiting for a pig to come through. And we start talking about Bigfoot. And he goes, dude, skunk ape. He goes, dude. I was like, yo, what would you do, bro? Would you shoot the skunk ape? Would you confront it? What would you do? Would you hurt the skunk ape if he actually was coming towards you? And he goes, dude, I probably wouldn't. And as a matter of fact, not too far away from here, there was a skunk ape sighting. And I forget, there's like levels to it. There's like A or B or whatever it was. And apparently it was off of I-95. And we were probably 5 aerial miles from where it was at. And I remember looking at him and I go, you just brought me out here, and there might potentially be a fucking Bigfoot, because we were taking hogs off of a golf course, and it bordered a conservation area, a preservation area. So it was a swamp. It was like a piece. And I was like, you brought me out here, and there's potentially a Bigfoot. He's like, dude, listen, I'd be more scared of people, because people are crazy. The people out here, he's like, dude, I've had footage of a guy, no shoes, no shirt, just pants, with a rifle in his hand, walk up to the trail cam, give it a thumbs up, and then he was out. Because remember, it's pitch dark. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. Imagine turning on the scope and seeing something staring back at you. So then he told me about the Skunk Ape Lives documentary, and I remember watching it. And I think it might have been, I'm not sure which accounts you go into there, but it was one off of I-95, and apparently it was like during the day, like 5, 6 o'clock, where it was just getting dark, and a bunch of people saw it. A bunch of people, like they saw him walk across the road. But what is it about Florida, dude? Because I cover a lot of Florida history. If you look up occult origins of Florida, I come up. I talk about all the Henrys, Flagler, you have Plant, all these guys, the guys that founded Florida. You have Walt Disney World. There's something that's drawing people here. I look at Florida as like this alchemical vessel where people come here to be transformed, because they come here to die. They come here to be transformed, to transcend to the next dimension. But I've also heard people talking about that Florida is like a portal of some sort. I've heard people say that Florida is good for manifestation because of the water around it. And we have Ponce de Leon looking for the fountain of youth here. You have Crystal Ball Columbus, right? If you want to believe that whole narrative, you have that guy coming out here and doing God knows what, right? They wiped out the indigenous people. They've done a whole bunch of stuff. But what is it about Florida? Are we in another dimension? Because Florida Man is a real phenomenon.
Yeah, well, so I don't know if it's like the people. This place used to be a prison. Like, you were sentenced to a work camp in Florida back in the day. So we're the descendants of those people, right? The Florida natives. Like, if you could trace your family's history back a few hundred years.
I'm Puerto Rican, bro. I'm not tracing anything.
Right.
I'm on an island off somewhere else,
But, there's also something to be said about St. Augustine, Gulf Breeze. Gulf Breeze, like, Florida's got some of the most UFO sightings. It's got right up there with the most Bigfoot reports. It's number 3 on the BFRO, but
really,
they've only got 320 something reports. I've got over 700.
Wow.
Just me. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the limestone, maybe the way the water is, like you were saying, but this state's got plenty of oddities.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to find some weird stuff, this is the place to do it. And the weather's great. Like, why would UFOs or ghosts or Bigfoot want to go where it's cold as hell?
And the water table is really high, and water retains memory, right? So that's also another aspect of it. And I haven't had a Bigfoot encounter, but I was out in the Everglades one day with a buddy of mine, and he was there with me. He heard it too. We were out over by Homestead, the Aerojet Canal. So very, very tip of Florida, in the middle of nowhere. It was just him and I, and we were fishing this canal, and it was quiet as can be because this is right before the Keys. And we heard what sounded like roaring. But it kind of sort of sounded like a bear roaring. But lo and behold, I look up the information, and there's bears in the Everglades. Like, we were in the Everglades and there's bears in there, dude. So if there's bears, imagine what else there could be. And again, we didn't see it. We just heard it. And I look over at him and I go, "Did you hear that, bro?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "That sound like a fucking bear to you?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, I hope it's a bear. You know what I'm saying? Because the crocs out there are huge. Yep. We have the python issue right now where they're taking over. They're huge. So this place is this.
Don't sleep on them killer bees either.
And the killer bees too are here?
Yes. Africanized bees are in the Everglades.
Wow. And dude, I didn't know, but there's stories of the Everglades pig people. And one time I was doing research for an episode on the Florida pig people. And the story goes, it's a out of control experiment of these people that they did. And I was just Google earthing through the Everglades, right off of Alligator Alley in that area there. And dude, there's houses in the middle of the Everglades. There are buildings out in the middle of the Everglades that the only way you can get through there is either a boat or airboat. I had no idea, dude, that this existed until I saw it on Google Earth. I'm like, can you imagine what happens out there, dude? I mean, and even the energy that's probably out there, these portals that potentially could open up. I don't know, man.
So like Avon Park, the military base, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
If you look at that thing from space, it's like pentagrams out there out of asphalt. It's the weirdest thing. You know what I mean? It's just like supposed to be, they were making, like during the Jade Helm thing, they were making a bunch of FEMA camps out there. So we went out there and they ran us off the base. But there's these damn like pentagrams way out around the thing, because I guess it's like a bombing range too. But you can see one of them, and it clearly from Google Earth. And we made a video about it. Had all that in the video and
dude,
stuff.
There is, bro. What?
Yeah, man. What's that shit about, dude?
What?
That's not a pentagram, is it? That's a Star of David.
That's a Star of David, but where's the pentagram?
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, but what the hell is that there for?
Yeah. That is weird. They got some. What is it? What are these guns out here? Can you go here?
I have no idea. No, we didn't get very far. before they were on us, told us to get the hell out.
Unless they're like trolling people. Maybe the guys that were working on base, you know, they're making their letter, their first initial or something, and they're just like, hey, let's troll these people. But yeah, dude, I mean, this is all, I talk about the occult a lot, and I'm trying to branch out to cryptids and talk about UFOs and all these other things. And no matter what, dude, there's always some occult aspect to all this. And what do you think? Because obviously people talk about Bigfoot being a flesh and bone type of thing, but I'm in the realm of possibility that it could be like some Nephilim descendant, where it is a spiritual, a metaphysical being, not so much a flesh and bone. Because don't you think we would have gotten a body part or actual footage of one by now, like actual concrete footage? What are your thoughts?
Unless there's a government cover-up, okay, then this thing should be sitting in a zoo right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like everything else is in a zoo. Hell, we got killer whales in the zoo. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got everything. You want to see it, you could go see it. It's on film. It's there, you know. And then you just have Sasquatch. It's just like elusive. I think it can be. I honestly don't know what it is anymore. I went into this thinking it was an ape, and I was going to shoot this thing and have it done within 6 months. Never happened. I see lights when we're out there. My equipment will just go dead, and then when they're out of the area, it will turn all back on. There's like real strong feelings you'll get, you know, to like get away. It's almost, I don't know if that's like the telepathic communication or not, but like it's there. You know, there's so many odd parts to it. And so I have to wonder, are the Bigfoots still an ape and just so happen to be in this haunted area? You know, this area with a lot of energy, because maybe they're drawn to it, because we know like geese are flying because they can like see the magnetic fields of the earth, and that's how they're guiding themselves to where they go.
Really?
Yeah, they see it through their beak or some shit like that. They got something in their beak that allows them to sense the magnetic pull, and that's how they know to go. That's just a normal animal. It's a flesh and blood. It just has this ability that's like insane. You know what I mean? And so why couldn't Sasquatch have something like that? You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't it be a flesh and blood, but then still have these abilities, whether that be cloaking or hell, maybe it does go through a portal. It could still be flesh and blood if it comes through a portal. That's what I think the Bigfoot community gets hung up on. They're like, oh, if it's going through a portal, it's not flesh and blood. Well, that makes no sense at all. Like the Thunderbirds, do you think they're really actually here? People are seeing them. We haven't found one of them. Not like famous people are seeing them and shit. Do you think those come through a portal? Like, you've seen a lot of that stuff in the Bridgewater Triangle for a certain amount of years, and then it all stopped. It was almost like a portal opened over the triangle and was letting all these things in. These things that are very much real flesh and blood, but they're just over here somewhere.
Yeah.
On some other plane of existence that we can't recognize yet for some reason. And so, like, all this stuff's considered paranormal and hogwash right now. The way we look at it is that it's pre-normal. I think in 100 years, when we understand physics better, we'll know the rest of the stuff about this reality, unless it's being held back from us. I could see that happening. But we should have a better understanding of physics. That's the thing about science. It's always changing. You know what I mean? It always changes when new information comes along. So gravity right now, that law of gravity, or whatever the hell they call it, that can change. You know what I mean? It's like, don't get too stuck in the one boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because new information comes along, and if science is going to do its job and be what it is, then it will morph into this other thing that, okay, hey, now we understand it better. I heard a guy speak about fish in a 2D world inside a pond. And they can't they can't imagine anything like up. They can't imagine up because all they do is see the water. And you got the fish scientist, and he's like, he knows everything inside his world, which is that pond. Well, then a person comes and plucks him out and pulls him out into this other place, this other dimension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've said that before, bro.
He don't know what the hell it is, but now he's seeing people breathe without having water, without having gills. He's seeing these other things, seeing these bright lights. He's feeling this heat on his skin. And the thing puts him back. If he goes tells his other fish friends are going to tell him it's crazy. You know what I mean? But he all of a sudden entered a 3D world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, it could be something very similar to that. We just don't know, because they say we only perceive 3% of this reality. Heaven and hell are probably all on this plane of existence that we're on. It's just a changing of your state, going from a physical body to then transcending to the next level. But you may very well still be here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You may very well still be here. You may not see it the way it's seen, but you may be in this plane of existence. And I speak to a lot of psychics. I got friends like that. They're all about frequencies. You're vibrating at a different frequency. If you're vibrating now this way, because now you're just a ball of energy or whatnot, this whole plane of existence may look very different on the third floor as it did the first floor. You know what I'm saying? If, like, life is the first floor, and then you got other levels, you know, it may all seem different, but we're all in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be why we have these bleed overs, to where you see an entity, an alien, or you see a Bigfoot, or you see a ghost, probably all stacked up right here, spinning around each other all the fucking time. And every so often, that veil gets thin. You slide through.
And let's not forget the aspect of ley lines. We have the Bermuda Triangle, one of the tips connecting, obviously, to Florida. If we're speaking about Florida, we have Coral Castle down by Homestead, which is also another anomaly. We have the Bach Tower. Have you ever heard anything of the Ocala Forest, bro? Do you have any stories of the Ocala Forest?
Yeah, bro. I got all kinds of stories. There's Kerr City. I don't know if you heard about Kerr City, but
Kerr City. How do you spell it?
Kerr. Rumor has it there's going to be a Skunk Ape Lives 2. And in said film,
hypothetically speaking,
yeah, Kerr City. Now there is a reason that it will say why everybody left. This dude moves down from Chicago, to the best of my knowledge, and builds this damn town in the middle of the woods. All these houses, bro, nice ass houses. Like, they were built back then. You know what I mean? And they're like 2-story. It's for people to come, and they had like a little like gambling and like whorehouse, I think, set up and stuff like that.
Can't forget the whorehouse.
I cannot. Very important part of modern history. But there was a bunch of occult stuff going on out there. Somebody got murdered. But they say everybody left because of a freeze or something like that. However, there is another side to that story, that everybody there was ran out of the town by a group of skunk apes.
I'm getting goosebumps, bro.
Who were violent and murdered people. Look at that house, bro.
Yeah.
$500,000 house now, sitting out in the middle of the Ocala National Forest that you can't go access.
It's the post office. But yeah, it says here, though it was a cotton plantation region, the town truly flourished, growing oranges until the freezes of 1894 and 1895 left the town deserted.
There's also a massive earthquake in 1894.
Here?
It was felt here. So it stopped, for the last time, it stopped the Ocala volcano, which I live in Ocala County. and there was a volcano back in the day. That's how people actually used to find this place. So
Dude,
Bigfoot in that area.
Volcano in Florida?
Yes, sir.
Hold on. You're just blowing my mind right now. Look how creepy this fucking picture is. Okay, so wait a minute.
Okay, the ghost town. There is a story. I don't know if it's true, but I love to believe it. That those people were ran out by a family of Skunk Ape, or a crew of Skunk Ape didn't want them there anymore. And I've Bigfooted 20 miles from there. I've got reports from Ocala, Bigfoot wearing a shirt. Some guy said that the damn Bigfoot had a flannel on, like the best it could get it on. So I'm guessing it seen somebody putting on shirts at these campsites and then found a shirt and tried to put it on. It wouldn't be monkey see, monkey do is a real thing, you know what I mean? So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude. So we Bigfoot now where the Ocala volcano is.
Yeah, so apparently this is a real thing.
Oh yeah, bro. I hate lying. Florida's one of the coolest places in the country, and take that from somebody who has seriously spent time investigating in almost every single state.
Wow. Okay, this is crazy. This is the first time I'm hearing of the Ocala volcano. Ocala volcano.
All right, now you say it like a native.
Yeah. All right. It's the Puerto Rican in me, bro. Come on, cut me some slack.
Everybody says Ocala, and it's like no.
Ocala. Yeah.
That's how you tell that. But it's a good screening method because you'll hear them. Oh, I love Ocala County. It's like, yeah, you ain't from here. You ain't from here. When did you buy your house? Where'd you come from? New York.
So this Kerr city, they were ran out by a civilization of Skunk Ape. This is right by the Ocala Forest.
Oh yeah, it's smack dab in the middle of it, bro.
Which I've gotten messages about weird things going on in the Ocala Forest, such as there was a story that a listener of the show sent me. I can't recall their name right now, but shout out to you, bro. That some guy apparently was teleported on top of a tree in his car out of nowhere. They found him in his tree in his car still. He had no idea how he even got there.
There's another report from the Bridgewater Triangle where some guy was driving home and he woke up in the middle of the woods in his car. Like not in the middle of the woods off of a road. Like
deep.
Like there was no way he got in there.
Did you see the whales they found? I think it was in the Amazon rainforest or some forest. They found whales deep inside that the scientists were like, how the fuck did this whale get here? I'm going to pull it up now, but did you hear about that?
No, I'll have to look that up. There's also the Humanzi thing that's a little bit north of there around Camp Blanding. So the Humanzi, that's also a lot of people believe that's the reason for the skunk ape.
So how a dead humpback whale...
Is this real? I do remember seeing this. Is this real?
Yeah, updated 2019, how it ended up in a mangrove forest, and it ended up inside this forest. And they say that obviously there's a way that it could get there. It was a flood or something, but that they don't know how it was able to get so far in Brazil. My wife...
They would have known if there was a flood.
Exactly.
That thing ain't even rotted yet.
Yeah. So the idea being that what I'm alluding at, that there could be, again, these portals where, how you said, the veil is thin, and what if these realities collide every so often, and you happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, like this whale here, and you happen to get teleported somewhere else, or like how that guy got teleported to wherever he was in the middle of nowhere. It's a possibility. And also, let's not forget, because I was camping one day over by, I want to say it was over by Sebring or Lake Wales area, somewhere over yonder, right? And LaBelle, Florida, or someplace, Immokalee or something. I was somewhere. I forgot where I was. And I remember I was reading about, I was going to be doing a interview about Skinwalker. and it was a book I was reading. Shout out to Ryan Burns. And in the book, he talks about the bulletproof werewolves, shapeshifters, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember in my tent reading this book in the middle of the night. And I'm in the woods and I'm hearing noises by this lake that is on the campgrounds. It sounded like monkeys. I'm like, yo, it sounds like monkeys, bro. So lo and behold, this is when I found out for the first time ever that there are fucking monkeys in Florida, bro. And not only that, but what they're hiding from us, Stacy, is that what they're trying to occult from us is that these monkeys have a deadly form of herpes that kills people 90% of the time.
Oh,
so,
I know. I gave it to him.
So if you go to the, well, not Ocala, but
Silver Springs. Yeah, a lot around in there. But hey, they've actually moved all the way around the state. I ran into a group
Ormond
of
Beach. I ran into some in Ormond Beach.
I was in Goethe State Forest, which is west of there, and I did a whoop, and one whooped back at me. It was in top of a tree, and then like another one whooped, and then they all started doing it. And I'm therming around, I'm looking at all these monkeys, and we had them on our game camera and all kinds of shit, dude. It was pretty badass. But yeah, they say they're all in that one spot, but it's not true at all.
And how I mentioned earlier, jinn are in the middle of these deserts. They say that jinn roam the deserts. I believe that the swamp is the same thing. You have there's phenomenon out there that can happen. The energy is different, dude. Whenever you're in I always tell people, whenever you're in the Everglades or in Florida in general, the energy is different. There's something about the atmosphere. It's almost like it's electrified in some way. And if you spend like I've spent a lot of time out there, obviously fishing, and you're in these areas where you can go deep into the Everglades, and it just feels different, bro. There's just something about, and I love it. I love being out there. It's great. But
yeah, it's very, it's a reset switch for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You could get out there and you could die. You know what I mean? You could, something go wrong, you could die real quick. You gotta be, and I think some people take it for granted, because we're just here and we don't really think out today we're gonna be in any situation that's really harmful to us. And then you get out there, and back in some of them areas, your boat breaks down or you're hiking, sprain your ankle or something, and next thing you know, you're in a bad situation. There's things out there to hunt and kill you.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid you get snake bit out there.
So let's talk about your documentary, because after I watched it, I went ahead and I had turned off the hymn to Pan when you were reciting it beautifully. I went ahead and I turned it off just because it was late. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like experiencing anything paranormal tonight. And I'm not the biggest Crowley fan. I know you're a big Crowley fan, but he had family in Titusville too, right? He was here in Florida at one point. And so I watched it, went to sleep, and I had a dream that Bigfoot was shooting at me.
Oh wow.
I was in a forest or wherever in the woods somewhere, and I remember I was under attack by a Bigfoot, and he was shooting at me with a .22. So I don't know. The
roles were reversed.
The roles were reversed. Exactly, because you go out there hunting for it. Well, what happens when it's turned around and it's hunting for you?
Right. I had a sleep paralysis one time. When my son was little, I would go and lay down with him till he fell asleep, and then I'd get up and go get in my bed. There were some times where I would fall asleep laying there with him, right? And I'd be there all night. So I'm laying there and I'm asleep, and I wake up and he's gone. And I look up at the doorway, and that damn Sasquatch that I first seen is standing there in the doorway. And I am terrified, bro.
In your house?
In my house, but I can't move. I couldn't scream. I couldn't do anything. I'm just laying there in the bed looking at this Sasquatch. Just like how people say they see the Hat Man. It's the same damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it wasn't a Hat Man. It was that Sasquatch that I saw. And he was standing there and he was pissed off. And I ended up waking up, but my son was gone. That was also weird. Like, because in my dream, I like looked and he was gone, and then I was able to look this one way, and then once I seen it, there wasn't no getting up. It was weird. But that hymn to Pan is strong medicine. I'm not. Aleister Crowley was a freak bastard, to put it lightly. I don't get into the whole religion, the thelema of it and all that. People treat him like Jesus. However, I was on an investigation, and my buddy Bill Brock broke that out. He's like, let's do the hymn to Pan.
Hellier style, right?
This is before Hellier. So when Hellier came out, I was like, man, because we did like a live stream. This is like 2 years before Hellier came out.
So they copied you guys. They were watching you guys.
We did it at the same place.
Bro, if it, I'll be honest. The bigger boys are always watching the smaller guys for inspiration sometimes.
Bro, they did it at the same place. And I don't know if their results were legit, but we had all of our equipment pulsing. And then the door to that TNT bomb shelter slammed. We're looking for the Mothman. And like my spirit box, my REM pod, and our K2 meter were all...
Like they were being drained of their energy?
Yeah, but then they all come back up at once because none of those three tools influenced each other.
Mm-hmm.
The K2 meter could be sitting next to the REM pod and not set the REM pod off or not go off itself. And then the same with the spirit box. They didn't influence each other by being on. They were all going the same then. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then I heard a voice in my head. And we, that was it, man. That was it. It was wild, bro.
What'd the voice say, bro?
The voice said to stay if I wanted to find out. And it sounded like, in the Matrix when they're like going down their throat. It's like,
yeah.
It's like electronic shit sounding. That's what it sounded like. And so I don't know if it was more of that noise and then the thought, or if it was the actual voice, but it freaked me out.
You dipped?
No. I mean, we ended up leaving, but because we didn't want to sleep on the ground again, and the dew started falling bad, and it was like, man, we're gonna be soaked, bro. We're gonna be soaking wet when we get up. So we left. But yeah, it was something else, man.
So you think you guys opened up a portal or something there while you were there?
Yeah, because so then the next night, and another thing I didn't know is that a portal can follow you. You can open a portal and travel with it. We go to Western New York next night. Go from West Virginia to Western New York. And over the direct link that we're using, it says close the portal. It was like 3 different voices.
Oh, I think I saw that clip. I saw that clip.
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah.
What's that from? What document?
That's at the Wildwood Sanitarium, but that's in the Skunk Ape Experiments, because I was explaining what happened when the hymn to Pan, the first time I did a hymn to Pan. And this is why I chose to do it here, just so we could get some activity, something happened. And it worked there too. I won't tell you how it worked because you got to watch the second one, but that was nuts.
Yeah, because I saw that you even broke down too. It was like something. Do you think that you were possessed by something, bro? Did something was attacking you? Do you think?
It's like something wanted me to kill myself.
Dude.
I love myself. All right. I don't mean to sound conceited or narcissist or anything, but I really enjoy myself. I enjoy my life for the most part. I try to stay positive, even when bad stuff happens. I do a lot of cool shit. Right? I go and do these cool things that I think most people are like, man, I'd love to do that. Yeah, I just go do it. Just go do it. You know what I mean? And So I don't want to kill myself. I still think I'm going to be here for when Bigfoot's proven, or when aliens are letting me know there's things that are coming that I want to have a front row seat to.
Yeah.
So I believe. And suicide, it doesn't run in my head. Doesn't run in my family. Like I don't know anybody that's killed themselves. But that's what a thing was telling me that night. You're a piece of shit. You're a loser. You need to kill yourself. Yada yada yada.
That was at the same building you heard close the portal.
Yeah, the same place. And then so like when I went out of there, when I left the house and went out to the street, because I couldn't sleep, bro. I should have been sleeping. This was the last night of this 6-day road trip that we started in Maine and ended back up in Maine. But we went from Maine to the Conjuring House. We went by the Lizzie Borden house. We went to Pennsylvania. We went to Ohio. We went to West Virginia. And we went back up to New York and then Maine again. So it was insane. It was 7 locations in 6 nights. I should have been tired. I should have been able to sleep. I shouldn't have been sitting there, debating why I haven't killed myself yet. And so like when I went out of the house though, and when I got to the road, it's just like it all just come out of me. It's an amazing feeling, but I just wanted to go home.
Golly, dude. That's heavy, man. Like
I'm that person that's like, if you say, hey, you get an attachment like that, like, all right, cool, let's see what happens with that. You know what I mean? If you tell me right now you could summon a demon, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's see it. I just want to see it.
Do you think that the phenomena of cryptids, because we're talking about the occult now, where you recite certain things, do certain things, your buddy was doing mirror gazing and while on mushrooms. I mean, I really want to see. You said that comes out next month?
Yeah.
I really want to see how that turns out, because you guys are really, and I told somebody about what you guys were doing. The guy's like, they fucking crazy. I go, yeah, they're unorthodox. It's like I know Chaz. Shout out to Chaz the Dead.
Oh yeah.
And he does the same thing. And he's like, what are you talking? They take psychedelics and then go try and do what? And I go, try and make shit happen, bro. I don't know. Like, I'm not a paranormal investigator of any sort. So do you think that it can go hand in hand? Because I mentioned the skinwalker earlier and how some indigenous beliefs, I don't know if that's propaganda, because I've also heard another side of skinwalker, but this idea that they're able to sick these egregores or thought forms on people, and that's what maybe this Bigfoot is, or the skinwalker. It's some sort of curse, right? Through the use of black magic of some sort. You have the Watiko as well. It's a little bit different, but kind of sort of. What are your thoughts on that? Is it one and the same, or?
Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe the Sasquatch are drawn to the high energy, but I firmly believe that the time that we think people didn't have no technology and they were using pulley systems and all that shit to move these huge heavy stones, I don't buy that. I think the world used to run on magic. Magic's pretty strong. And I don't know if Sasquatch would fall into maybe some protector of the forest,
a fairy or elemental,
like that, right? And because some of these things don't make sense, like Dogman, it doesn't make Sasquatch makes sense, right? Because there's primates already.
Yeah,
and so Sasquatch, if you're thinking about Sasquatch as just the animal, then yeah, it makes sense. But like Dogman doesn't make sense. Lizardman doesn't make sense. Goatman doesn't make sense.
Mothman doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I've talked to people that seen these damn things, and I believe them. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that this magic isn't allowing us? I don't think a skeptic ever see things because they don't open that part of their brain up. They shut it down.
Gotcha.
It's like a body self-defense. But if you can open yourself up to this shit,
Yeah.
you can see a lot of stuff. You can have a lot of stuff happen. And I mean, I might be wild, but I'm not insane. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not making this up. I'm not seeing things that aren't there. But like, even now when I do magic, when I try to do invocation or something, I don't worry so much on the words. It's the intention. Like, so I read the hymn to Pan. I did it pretty intense. It's putting everything, all my energy, everything I give to it, so it could give back, right? So these things can feed off of that energy, and feed and then show me something, you know, because then maybe I'm deserving. But it's like the words aren't what's important. It's the intention, what you're calling on. You know what I'm saying? And that to me was kind of the biggest takeaway from all of that stuff, because like prayer, it's magic.
Mm-hmm.
You are setting an intention to help somebody that's sick, or to pray that somebody's okay. As you were talking about people calling maybe a Bigfoot onto somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe not call it. Maybe Bigfoot is the way that it comes. But you know, you set the intention for something to come to somebody. You know, to hurt somebody or to scare somebody. There's a bunch of different theories. Like even in the film, we had some guy that believed that Bigfoot are projections of AI, and that when we get close to these places, these haunted houses, or like if you get to a place where the Foo Fighter or the Sphere would be transmitting its data, it'll throw out a projection to scare you away. So I guess Outcast Paranormal ultimately is a think tank. We pull all these different wild ass theories together and like, let's set some experiments up, see if any of this stuff works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether that's bloodletting or smoking DMT in a house that's supposed to have a portal in it to see if we can see it. Yeah, when you see some of our other films that we've made, I mean, because who's to say? You know, and I think really the film we made at the Conjuring house, that ultimately changed the way I am forever.
This has already happened, right?
This has already happened.
You guys have already finished the trilogy?
Yeah, the trilogy's been filmed. It's just I'm putting the last pieces of the third one together now. But then we also have a film at a guy named David Eckhart's house up in Gulf Breeze. Mm-hmm. He's a lifelong abductee. Pretty cool stuff there. You could check him out. He was on like Fact or Fake. They tried to figure out, they tried to debunk him, basically, is what that show did. They'd go around and try to debunk a bunch of shit. They actually could not debunk him. When this portal opens in his house, like thousands of earthworms will come out of the ground around his house, right?
What?
Just so happened to go to the Fact or Fake team experienced that. Yeah, like this dude David, he says they'll come through and get him, and this is how if this is a hoax, this is how devoted he is to it. If he feels them getting him, he will tase himself in the throat.
Who's they, bro?
This portal opens, like, dude, he has these pictures of these fucking entities that come through this portal in his house, and they'll come and take him and his family and shit.
What?
And do surgeries on him. They like told him he couldn't have children.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so his kids are adopted. But so we're like, oh, all right, cool. We'll bring over his ex-wife. She'll spill the beans. She stopped by for something. She'll spill the beans. No, she won't spill the beans. She's absolutely says the reason she doesn't live there is because of the things. That she can't live with him because of the things, but she still loves him.
Wow.
His kids are like, I can't stay around my dad.
There's something attached to him. How you're saying there's a portal following him around.
It's him. So we gave him this fucking Geiger meter, right? And it like measures radiation. And so like 10 to 20 is a normal radiation. Like you probably got 10% around you right now, right? Mm-hmm. 10 to 20. So like 30 to 40, you're supposed to leave the area, right? 50, it can start to make you sick. This motherfucker said the portal was going off. He said the portal was opening, and he filmed the counter. It was up to 230 and said, contact your government.
Whoa.
That was
and this dude's where?
Pensacola.
Of course, he's a Florida man. God.
Yep.
Dude.
And so we go there and we smoke DMT at his house with him. And so, like, usually everybody, when they smoke DMT, they just go out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not David. David's sitting there having a fucking conversation. He's sitting there.
His entire existence is a DMT trip.
Bro, he's having a conversation with these things, talking about I've received the download and yada, yada, yada. Going off.
When is this coming out? I got to see this.
We got to shoot some more stuff. It'll be this year. We're going to be dropping a bunch of stuff this year. It's going to be cool. But we're just getting started. So, yeah, and then we do like a bloodletting ceremony. I cut myself, and because they're seeing if it's demons. You know what I mean? And then there's like these goldfish. So like if you put a goldfish in a bowl in the house, when you wake up in the morning, it's going to be just a skeleton. And we tried that experiment. I won't tell you how that ends, but you'll want to see it for sure.
Okay, dude. So
there's no way to explain the shit. Man's got boxes and boxes of cell phones, just pictures of shit. The government's all up in his house and stuff, and like, it is crazy.
Is this like the Skinwalker of Florida, bro? Skinwalker Ranch of Florida?
Here the thing about it is it's him. It's moved with him from houses, and you can take him somewhere else and it'll still happen. They'll still come get like his daughter. His daughter wakes up in the room and she said there's 1,000 butterflies in her room. And when she said 1,000, she said she meant 1,000. That was like she had to move them to get out of her room. And she assumed that was them projecting something to her while they took her. Like some of our team members woke up with weird ass bruises and shit. Like crazy stuff, bro. And so you're going to get that thing done. The Conjuring House, we went to that one, and there was an old World War II Nazi experiment called, I can't remember what they called it, but the CIA ends up doing it in the 60s. They get the technology, and they do it in the 60s, and they called it the Gateway Project.
Yeah, is that the Monroe?
Yep, with that, and then the Stargate, the Stargate experience or experiment.
Yeah.
So we had somebody build that experiment for us, and we did it in the Conjuring House.
Golly, dude.
Now, when you do something that's a personal experience, it's hard to relay on film, right? Because the viewer's never going to see what I saw. So what you have to do is you have to exit interview everybody, right? Individually and get what they say. And when the stories line up, everybody, like 3 people had the same trip, that's when you start doing it. And it was weird, because like it was all set up with like gematria, like numbers and shit like that. And this number popped up. This was the strangest part about it. This number popped up. And it was a number that my dad was going to get to me if he died before me. Somehow or another, he would make sure this sequence of numbers came to me. And it showed up in the gematria, in the seat, because I was able to sit in 2 seats. And then this number said, but we have this weird number. We don't understand it. And they told it to me, and I knew what it was. So in that first experiment, we left that seat open for my dad.
Oh my gosh, dude! So
fucking crazy, bro.
I can't wait to see this, because you're just blowing my mind right now, and I don't know if I should be afraid for you for how fucking crazy you are, or if I should be intrigued. I don't know, because it sounds like you're getting results, but to conclude, Stacy, to come down a little bit, what have you learned of what to do just in case something does attach itself to you? Are there practices that you're able to do to expel things from you? I know people talk about burning sage. People do. What do you do?
So I don't run them off. I try to befriend, respect. You know what I mean? I'm a very strong-willed person. Maybe if my will's broken one day, I'll start trying to get aligned or something like that. But I live pretty close to like I'll walk around barefoot and get my feet on the ground so I can get grounded. But I think they can be helpful. We have this one film coming out called Beth, and it's a spirit box that I have. And every time I turn it on, no matter where I am, Beth will come through that spirit box. And she talks to me. And so I talk to her, and like we have conversations every night. And so I'm trying to solve her murder. Is what I'm trying to do. And the weird thing, we did this event, this Paracon, and there's this girl came out and like she sees dead people and yada yada yada. And I was like, well, because she's like, before you all get started on your ghost investigation, I'd like to go around here and talk to some of the spirits. And I said, okay, cool. Yeah, thinking she's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, come back to me, just let me know what names you get. She comes back, she's like, I only got one name, and it was a girl named Beth. And I was like, oh, because that was where I got Beth from.
So, she didn't know you or anything?
No, she didn't know me. To my knowledge, she did not know me. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So in all fairness, she could have looked on my YouTube and dug to the bottom and found this one video that's got like 600 plays on it about me having this spirit box session and getting Beth 42 times in 7 minutes out of it.
Golly.
Right. She could have done that.
Yeah.
In all fairness.
Mm-hmm.
However, that was pretty wild. Because she didn't know what I was going to tell her. You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I like to I try to collect haunted things. But I think maybe certain things can be turned in your favor. I could be terribly wrong about this, and it's all going to go downhill from here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with respect and maybe acknowledgement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm afraid of these things. They will frighten you.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of them.
And I come from a Christian background, and I grew up in the church, so I have respect for the occult. I do research it quite a lot, and I do know a lot about the occult. So again, I know a little bit about ritual ceremonies, et cetera, but I do have the utmost respect for it. And for some reason, people think I am an occultist, and they'll reach out to me like, hey, dude, I got this curse on me that my stepmom put on me or something. How do I break it? I'm like, dude, I'm not your guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just research this stuff and I talk about it because It's interesting, but I'm not your guy. But Stacy, dude, you're crazy, man. You're crazy. Fellow Floridian. I mean, right? You're the typical Florida man going out here, opening up portals, talking to entities on the other side, smoking DMT in haunted houses. Dude, I really can't wait to see what else you have planned, and I'll keep an eye out for the newest stuff that you guys are putting out.
Come out with us, man.
Dude, I don't know about that.
Florida. I don't know where you're at in Florida, but we're going down to the aerospace, the old aerospace place
in Homestead.
In the Everglades. I guess it's in Homestead. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about, bro. Yeah, it's in Homestead.
You should come out with us.
I'll see, bro. When are you guys planning that?
I don't know. Before it gets hot. So maybe 1st of February, maybe January, but definitely before it gets like terribly hot down there, because we're going to go out there with Ghost Hunters of South Florida. They're going to show us around, and we're going to fart around there and do some things, man. I don't know what we'll do, but apparently there's been a bunch of occult stuff there.
Really?
We do have an occultist in our group. Because the way I figure it, 60 years have went by.
Mm-hmm.
And with the exception of the UFO thing, which I don't think we know anymore than we did about UFOs 60 years ago.
It's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. But that's the thing. We don't know. We're still in the same place we were 60 years ago with Bigfoot, with the paranormal, and with the UFO thing. And so, hey, maybe it takes smoking DMT to get an experience.
Push the limits.
Answers, push the limits. You know, like at the Conjuring house, my buddy that owned it, he said, hey, it's not the house that's haunted, it's the land. You should bury me in the ground. And so we did. We built a coffin, buried him in the ground, and we did an Estes method with my other buddy down in the well, and we were in the library. We're asking the questions in the house. Our homeboy's buried out in the yard, and the other dude's downstairs in the basement down in the well. They can't hear us, but we've got them mic'd up, so we're hearing exactly what they're saying, and we're asking questions, and then they start talking to each other.
What?
Yeah, bro. And then a bright-ass light, boom, flashes in the room that we're in, and we stopped.
Whoa, dude.
We pulled RPG out of the well, and I went in the well because it was so cold. You could only stay in so long.
Yeah.
And the conversation was so good. We wanted to continue. So we pulled him out, put me down, and then the light flashed and everything stopped.
Yeah. You guys are not the type of friends I want to have. We're going to be putting me in wells and shit.
Paranormal jackass.
Stacy, dude, you killed it, bro. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'll definitely have to have you back on once you put out something else, because you guys are some crazy motherfuckers, man. Where can people find your stuff? Plug your stuff again. People can look you up and keep up with it.
OutcastParanormal.com, Outcast Paranormal on all the social medias, YouTube and all that. Our films, the Skunk Ape Experiments, is out now on Amazon, iTunes, all those things. And see, Tonga is dropping this Friday on Paraflix for the first month or so, and then we're going to release it everywhere else. But it's well worth it. You'll enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out, dude. Appreciate you coming on. People know where to find me at the 101 Podcast, all social media platforms, the 101 Podcast.com. And once again, like always, see you on the other side.